miles did I cover? How fast did I do it? And I'm like, no one cares about how I feel. Everyone just wants to know the stats.
I care how you
We'll
feel.
pretend to care about that. But I was just saying, I don't know if you knew, but we had Eric Burns on after he did his 24-hour record.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all have gotten more communication out of Burnsy than I have. I had told him I was doing this, and he like gave me all these things, and then he just ghosted me, completely big league me, has not talked to me since.
Burnsy's a busy man. I'm gonna say that if I had to guess someone to big league you out of spite, it wouldn't be him.
Yeah,
But
me
who
either.
knows? Maybe you got under Burnsy's skin.
He didn't like it.
I don't know if you could hear us prior to this, but I said Burns got 420.
Mm-hmm.
And he broke the previous one by 18 holes, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I was expecting 430, 450. Like he's a pretty decent runner.
Yeah.
But he is like by no means a 100-mile like animal. But then Kirk told me that you like doubled it.
Well, I doubled it on a shorter course.
On par 3.
Yeah, par 3 course. So we'll definitely get flack for that, and that's fine. But like at the end of the day, I'm not a former MLB baseball player that has the kind of pull to say to a golf course, I want you to shut down for 24 hours. I had a great opportunity right out my back door here at East River 9 that they have stadium lighting, and they gave me a date that I could do it. And I said, let's do it. Otherwise, it's, at any run-of-the-mill golf course, you're taking away about $20,000 in revenue on just taking a single day of full tee times, not playing.
Or you're covering it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I got kids, all right? We're doing this to raise money for a nonprofit. And like I could get into the whole let's raise a bunch of money and use 50% of it to cover Kyle's amazing day of golf, or we do this the way where 100% of the proceeds go to the camp, and that's what we chose to do.
Interesting. So you inadvertently covered probably my second or biggest question, which would have been lighting. But if they had stadium lighting, that seems like it would take care of a big hassle.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. Because I think like when Burnsy did it, he had a glow in the dark golf ball.
Yeah,
and it also helps. Ours came, or I guess when we started, it came 2 days after the summer solstice, so it was really the most lit day you could have. But we had the lights go out for about 2 minutes while I was on course, and I just hit and I kept playing, and I was like, we gotta get these things back on. And it was pitch black. There was no moon and like clouds. Like it was pitch black. I almost
you just like tap 40 yards dead straight and run to it.
Yeah. I just punched it. I was like, I'm just gonna punch it till they get these things on. And so I did it for like a few holes. I don't know if it was I haven't even been able to watch the live stream of it yet, but everyone was talking about how cool it was with the drone and stuff. But when it went black, I think the media team was like, where is he? He's disappeared.
I have so many questions, and I'm going to hold myself back.
Yeah, we should.
A little bit. And I think after we talk to you, Kyle, we're going to be developing like an ultra run / golf niche on this podcast. If it's 2 guests that have done this, that starts to be
that's a pattern.
It is a pattern, yeah. I have a question about the bumper plates behind you. You must be in your home gym. Did you put 2 plates on each side just to look like a badass for this?
I was doing curls right before.
Oh, you're doing curls. Okay. I gotta know, were they on there before we started recording, or did you place them there like that? I gotta know.
No, they really were. In fact, right before we went out to the golf course, I did 1 set of max bench press just because I was like, I gotta get the vanity up just like one more time before we suffer on this golf course, and I do not use my upper body for 24 hours. So that was the last bench before 24 hours of golf.
It makes me rethink. I leave mine sitting with 1 bumper plate on each side. So I got 135. That's like how it rests. But I could make it rest with 225. And now I feel like I'm a little insecure about my setup.
I don't think I can get this up once right now.
By the way, how many times did you bench 220? I can tell you, I just did a max this week because I'm not running post-marathon. How many times did you bench 225 before your big golf outing?
11 times.
I did it. I finally hit 5. I thought I was really badass. I mean, for recent times.
That's good. That's good. And you just had that grandma's marathon too.
Part of a marathon. which is a little different.
Well, you ran it pretty hard.
I did.
Kirk, what I do, because Kyle, I don't know if you know, probably not, but I live next door to my parents. And so I have a home gym set up that my dad uses most mornings or afternoons. So I never unrack a thing just to let him know. When he comes over and if he has to take weight off in order to start, that's me telling him that the old bull is heading out to pasture.
You're just flexing on him a little bit. There's no problem with that.
Every day of my life that I can subtly let him know that I'm coming.
It's a great idea.
So Kyle, it's Thursday at about noon. You completed this thing on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Is that right? So we're like a day and a half removed, just almost 2 full days. Are you still like ass backwards? When I asked you to record this, I figure you'd be either catching up on sleep or schedule. And you were like, no, I'm down. And you seem like, are you like feeling alive and vibrant after this?
Shockingly, yes. And I don't know what to attribute it to. I've got a few ideas because it was really hot and I thought I was going to be beat. My feet are destroyed. My grips kind of destroyed too. But I will say running on grass definitely helps the joints. The first night, my bones were like, I didn't sleep at all. And I've only slept about 3 or 4 hours since the whole thing. And I'm a little inflamed, like puffed up. But overall, like I think my body's starting to kind of get used to this recovery mode right after the 100-mile thing because this is my third one now in about 18 months. And the recovery process has just escalated a lot quicker since that first one. The first one took me out about a week, and took me out about a day and a half. But I'm good. I can go jog if I needed to right now.
It's not bad.
And I want to talk about you. I want to get just a little background on you too. But what's the most sore? Where are you the most sore that you wouldn't have expected? And where are you the most sore that you would have? For example, I did a 500 pull-up for time challenge a couple of years ago. And the most sore thing on me afterwards was my core more than my lats and my tricep insertion into my elbow. And I was like, those muscles I didn't even think were being used. And it caught me way off guard. Couldn't sit up out of bed properly for a week. So what are yours?
That's a really good question. I think my most sore is the lower back. Just all the hinging, and everyone talked about it and warned me, and I was just like, screw it, I have a towel. But the bending, I bent down to the hole. You add this up, I bent down to the hole 810 times. I bent down to put my ball down 810 times. And then I bent down to grab a towel after every shot. And that was insane. Insane how many, I just didn't even think about it. I was like, I'll be fine. Lower back is hurt the most. And then my feet are probably hurt the most. They're just like bricks and they barely fit in I've like a 1.5 oversized ultra shoes that I'm trying to wear. And they're still just like hovering over the edge of these things.
I want Brakken to guess what shoe I know what shoe you competed in or golfed in, but I'm very Brakken, did you see or do you have no idea?
Not.
Okay, I would love for you to, because I don't know if I'd pick this shoe, and you'll see why. It's a great shoe. What shoe do you think Kyle wore for his attempt?
I'll grab it.
I don't know, but I'd guess Speedland.
Oh, you are so far wrong, Brakken.
Really?
So far off.
Think road shoe.
Okay, then maybe I would do a streak fly.
One more guess? Should we give him one more guess?
Give him one more.
You're still not even close.
Not even close?
Would you say he's even close, Kyle?
No.
What was the theme? Why did you choose it?
It's a longer story.
Okay.
It's a longer story than anything. I had like a box of 6 shoes, 4 of which were trail. One was a really high cushion shoe, just rotate in. And I was wearing this one 2 minutes before the bell went off. I got lost on time. And I was like, I have 30 seconds to get to the tee box and go. And I was wearing the shoe and I was like, let's just go. And it ended up being the shoe I wore the whole time.
All right.
I wish, no. Right here, baby. The A6 is right behind you. Look at that grip.
Taken me through my entire. Wow. Why did you have those on 2 minutes before?
So it was really wet, which you would think, okay, it's wet on grass. Like there's no way you're going to wear this shoe. But I've I loved running in the shoe, and I've only run in it like a few times. Honestly, I've only run in it twice. But I really loved how light it was and how breathable this stuff was. So I was thinking light shoe, and if I'm going to be taking in a bunch of moisture, I want a shoe that's like just draining all that water out of it. And this was the most holy shoe I had, like actual holes in it that I felt like would get the water out quickly. And it was the best carbon plated shoe with cushion that I could manage on grass. And so I just went with it.
Okay. I am right now. This is pulling back the curtain a little bit. We are in the process at RaceBrain of starting up my shoe review channel. And so currently I have 13 shoes that are applicable to road running or high rocks. Not or, both. They are hybrid shoes, but they're road running super shoes for the most part, and ranked by everything you can possibly rank them by, and stability is one of them. And in terms of fast shoes with stability, I currently have the Metaspeeds fairly down the list in terms of stability. I can't imagine swinging a golf club in those for 24 hours.
I think I lost you for a second, but you were talking about the stability of it, and you're right. Like you're finishing kind of unbalanced. I don't know what it is. I mean, this is a size 11 and a half, I think. Yeah, it's an 11 and a half, which is that's a full size above what I would wear like a true fitting shoe at. I don't really have like a great answer, honestly.
It just worked.
It just worked. Yeah. I'm probably like with you guys are in knowledge of shoes. I am like on the opposite end of the spectrum. And in hindsight, I probably should be better at it. This is not a good high rock shoe, but, honestly, I think a lot of it's just like dumb confidence in a shoe. And I just like that it's like gray and just like got a little bit of color and it's fast for me. And I just threw it on, but it probably is not the most stable carbon shoe. I mean, I'm trying to think about what would be your most stable carbon shoe you have on that list.
Well, the one prior, this one here, ones are the most stable carbon shoe ever made.
I think the Vaporfly would be a very good choice. Not the 3s, but the 2s would be like pretty low stack height, got some grip on them.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, we don't need to get bogged down in that, but just if I were doing this, I always think about that. What would I have done? I can't say that would have even been on my radar. So that's crazy.
I would have been in like Speed Goats or some Tecton X. Just
I'd have been in a Max Trail shoe, at least in theory. But
I'm gonna steer the ship hard left. Okay, Kyle, I'm gonna basically tease the listeners with the stats from your event, which you've probably everybody wants to talk about the stats, but I'm gonna tease them. Then I'm going to leave them there with it, and we're going to go back and learn who you are, and then we're going to work our way back to how we got to these stats. Does that sound good?
Love that. Yeah.
I'm disappointed you don't have your mustache, though, I must say.
I know.
Kyle's a great he has a very good mustache, Kyle does, and you must have shaved it just for the event, huh?
No, for my wife.
That's funny. Lisa and I were just talking about this. And my conclusion I drew, we were just talking this weekend about mustaches, and I said it's weird because I think men only grow mustaches for other men. I think there's a very small subset of females who actually like it, but for the most part, it's like, oh, bro, nice mustache. Like, hey,
sad
thanks.
But true. It's
and I'm going to keep it because you said that.
Yeah, it's so
What
true.
What does your wife think of yours? And I'm going to just say it, and my wife is going to be embarrassed. She says it makes me want to do bad things to her. So she tells me when I have the mustache. She goes, I don't know if it's your best look, but there's something about it that really winds me up, she says. What about yours?
Oh, well, when my wife met me, I had a beard, and I was like, it was like hunting season, and I was like, yeah, I don't shave for 3 months. And so now that I have the mustache, it's like a scaled back, mature version of myself. It's like, it's got a little bit of like the Hunter Kyle flair, but it's not so like aggressive. And she always just says, you're just better looking without it, but do what you want to do. And it's like one of those little passive aggressive comments. It's like, you know what the right thing to do is here, but wear that mustache as long as you want, boy.
It's a good way to test your woman's love for you. See how how committed she really is. All right. Yeah. In this event, the world record was set. How much was the world record broken by? How many holes?
Holes would it was 420 from Eric Burns. So then that was a standard that Guinness set, and so that's 390.
Okay. Different course, but 810 holes were played in 24 hours. 810. What was your club of choice? A 7-iron and a 9-iron? What were you hitting?
It was a 50 degree wedge. Yeah, like a pitching wedge almost.
810 holes played. This says 91.8 miles on foot. So for those listening that aren't interested in golf, you completed almost a 100-mile ultra in 24 hours while actively pursuing a different goal. So we have to talk about this in the training, of course. So you completed an ultra.
It would have been a sub 26-hour 100.
Yeah, well, and without playing golf, who knows?
Well, I actually finished in 23 hours and 30 minutes. I had time to do another loop and change, but I ended at 8:10. I actually did 23 and a half hours, but yeah.
Okay.
So it could have been sub 25-hour 100.
That's right.
With golf.
Kyle is a stick. You play golf well, I believe, and you play a lot of golf, correct?
No, I don't play any golf anymore. Like truly do not play any golf anymore. I had a big high school career and wanted to play in college, but I pretty much stopped it. I probably hit the 10,000 hour rule from like 8th grade to senior year of high school going into college. And then I was just like a burnout from too much golf, but I have all these hours in training of golf. So it's just kind of like, yeah.
You're not a bad golfer.
Yes.
Well, we can leave it at that easily. I've seen, and you have a clean swing and you hit the ball well. I know enough about golf to know that like you're not a novice.
Right.
Out of these 810 holes, you hit 322 pars and 66 birdies while running an ultra.
Yeah.
Your fastest 18 holes, your average 18 holes was 13 minutes and 52 seconds for 18 holes. So you're averaging 50 seconds a hole. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And your fastest round was under 11 minutes, 10 minutes and 50 seconds to play 18 holes.
Yeah.
All right. Those are the stats, folks. Now we're going to get to know Kyle, and then we're going to come back to this. I know Brakken's chomping at the bit to go with this, but we got to hold back slightly. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do? And how did you end up here?
Yes. All great questions. Yeah. So Kyle Cokinos. I'm Houston, Texas native. I went to Texas A&M. I live here with my wife, and we got 2 beautiful daughters, a third on the way in November. We don't know if it's boy or girl. I am a outdoorsman, avid outdoorsman. Hunting and fishing is really my background. I'm the oldest of 6 kids. We're a big fat Greek family, and recently found endurance out of college. I'm 31 years old now, but a couple years out of college, I really was just like a washed up golfer, fraternity bro. I hate that I just said fraternity bro, but it really is true. I just was drinking beer and not very active, and then just kind of flip a switch. And so really kind of pursued that with work and trained up, did, a 5K or something to kind of start out. Then it escalated to a half Ironman, then a full deal. Then now we do ultra marathons, and I also do a lot of the strength work too, and high rocks and whatnot. But that's kind of my 1 minute, 2 minute elevator pitch right there.
You said the switch just flipped, but what preceded that?
I was in banking, and I was sharing a cubicle with a super fit buddy of mine named Charlie Russell, and he did 1 high rocks, and this is he could run a 5K under 18 minutes on a trail here in Houston, super fast. And he was telling me about this high rocks. And he's like, why don't you come work out with me? And he'd always try to get me to bench press, and I was afraid to do it. And I'm 23 years old when this is happening, and I never would even go under a bench press because I was afraid if he put 135 pounds on the bar, it'd fall on me. But I started doing that with him 3 or 4 days a week before work. And then, rest was history. I was like, oh, you have to eat this certain amount of protein to grow muscle? That's cool. And then I met with a nutritionist, and it just skyrocketed from there.
Charlie Russell,
legend. He's fitter than I will ever be. But
you never know somebody's story, and I don't mean to use the eye test, Kyle, but I'm going to use it, and it. You're a brick shithouse endurance monster. You're built like most like Greek gods that a man could aspire to be built like, and you're telling me you were a beer drinking fraternity bro who gave up on yourself and found your way back? It were afraid to put 135 pounds on the bar. Now Brakken's looking at him. I think he's looking you up on the internet to see
Of course I am.
what's under that shirt of yours. But like Kyle is like one of the guys that like, yeah, I just went to peg that. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, and like and a lot of people don't. They just kind of assume I've always been fit. But like I have a brother that's a freak athlete and like was high school. He was running back, quarterback. Like picked up a golf club the first time, almost made a hole in one. He's that kind of guy, and I couldn't be more of the opposite. Like I played and practiced any sport I was doing so hard, but just was like never. I was just kind of a average, run of the mill. But and instilled in me was like this mindset of being an oldest child of 6, having a grandfather who was a general in the military and a dad who was an extremely hard worker. I had the mindset there and the ability, and that's what's really poured into like training hard with all this endurance, and it's working hard in my profession and work and running our business. But like I was not a fit dude. I was really not a fit dude, and yeah, I've gone so far as like I was ashamed of those pictures when I first started getting into fitness that I removed everything from Facebook. I just was like, no more pictures on Facebook. So you can't even find those pictures unless you ask me for them.
Like the old ones.
Yeah, the old college ones. I'm like, that's an old version of me we don't need to visit.
It's reassuring though, because
Yeah.
so many of these people are just the never put it down type person.
Right.
You can still get there having it dust covered for years.
Right. Exactly. It's true. It's true.
So what was your fitness progression then? So, and you and I, we worked together for just a couple of months. This is a while back. I think you were training for the High Rocks Ruck division, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Which is a whole different for Go Ruck, right? So I have an idea because obviously we have like a pre-existing relationship, but we don't know each other that well. Although I know if you were my neighbor, we'd be boys. Tell me like how your progression went from like that with your coworker up until recently. Like what does the regimen look like now? How did you find the ultra space, all of that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I just the simplest answer, and it cut out a little bit during your question, but I think I got what you're saying, is how did I get from Go Ruck to now we're doing ultra marathons?
Yeah.
I think like with just the history of my fitness, there's always been like this fear of like what I can accomplish and just kind of setting the ceiling really low. And then once I've broken through it, it's like, you can do more than a 5K. You could do a 10K. You could do more than a High Rocks. You could try to do a Murph workout in under 40 minutes. You could do more than that. You could do an Ironman. You could do more than that. You could do an ultra marathon. You could do more than that. You could do golf and an ultra marathon. And it's just like I listened to Courtney DeWalter talk about this actually, and she talked about kind of breaking the ceiling that we all set for ourselves. And I think that's what it's been. It's like, and you guys have had it too with your races and whatnot. It's like once you accomplish something, it's like you get to the end of it, it's like I can do more. And so that's just how it's gone from like the 5K to ultra marathon to now I'm like, should I do a 200? I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny how many times we hear people on either at races or during athlete calls or meetings be like, man, if I could ever break 16 in a 5K, I'd die happy. Like, no, because it'd be cool that day. And the next day you'd be like, I wonder how much faster I could go. Or could I hold this for a 10K with 2 years of training? Everything becomes status quo once you've done it once. There's no such thing as satisfaction with an accomplishment.
Right.
Unless that's the day you retire.
Yeah. You're never going to be satisfied. What is that Tom Brady interview like right after the Super Bowl where he's just sitting there and like he's got the ring and he's won a couple and he's like, I just feel like there's more. And if you put all what I've found, and not to get too spiritual, but if you put all your worth into these events and stuff, you're just always going to be longing for more. And they're great accomplishments, and it's great to kind of push your fitness and what you're capable of. But it's just viewing it as like one aspect of life and kind of letting it flood into like your family, your faith, your friendships, your business, all of that stuff. I think it goes further than just an end race result, right? Because that's just boring.
Whoever made $1 million and then quit. Like, I did it. I'm $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah.
Everyone would be happy if you gave them $1 million. until they spent the first dollar of it. And then
Mhm.
they're like, well, now I need two.
So true. So true. You'll always feel unsatisfied or longing for the next thing.
Yeah.
Especially if you DNF something. I'll tell you that right now. I got a question for you. I when we were working together, I was trying to wrap my head. I think you texted me back this morning because I got up at 5 and I had a text from you at like 4:15 or something. And what I tried to wrap my head around when we had worked together is you work full time, correct?
Yep.
You have your own business as well. Is that the same thing as your full time, or is that a secondary
Same
situation?
thing. Full time.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're working for yourself full time. Started and created a business, I assume.
Yeah, so it's Cokinos bond. We do surety bonds for contractors, oil and gas companies. We got a team of 3 people here in Houston. I started about 2 years ago, right when our first daughter was born.
Oh, okay. So you have that. You've got 2 kids, a wife, and your athletic pursuits. I believe the alarm for you was going off. I mean, with everything you have going on, it was 2-a-day workouts every day. You were adding in stuff to my programming on your own as well. Like I also did this on top of what I had assigned. And the amount of commitment and time commitment, I wondered, when does this guy sleep? 2, how does he balance it all? And 3, how does he have any energy left in the tank to not be walking around cross-eyed, tired, and dragging his feet? And so that's a lot to throw at you, but like how have you set up your life to do this? Because I wonder how you, even when we were together for that short bit, how you pulled it all off. I don't understand.
It's a really good question. I think my wife and I talk about it a lot, and like it looks really pretty and like it looks sexy because there's like the still shots on Instagram of me doing this cool golf thing, and like I have these cool achievements, but like it is kind of a mess. But it's just a mess we deal with. I think it starts from growing up in a house with like a lot of kids, kind of crammed in together. I mean, we had it great, and but like I always shared a room with my brother, and if you're in a house with 6 kids, someone's up stirring by 6 a.m. So you just get comfortable with early wake ups and not sleeping, not getting like adequate sleep. Did I cut out there? It cut out for a
You
second.
did, yeah.
Yeah, for like
Okay.
20 seconds.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I think one, just like a stirring household with a bunch of kids kind of pushed together. Someone's always up at 6 a.m. and it's noisy. So I've just kind of learned, whether it's healthy or not, to kind of get by with a little bit of sleep. I stay away from the Instagram ads that tell you need 8 hours every night. But having a home gym, having a gym close by has really helped with efficiency in my schedule, not having travel time to and from a gym a lot of the time. And I really don't have a perfect answer for you, honestly. I get really committed and bought into goals. I'm very goal oriented, and I just like it's all I think about when I get ready for training, and I kind of get obsessive about kind of pushing the needle further and further.
What are the parts we don't see? What are the non-sexy parts? Like how does that play out in your life?
There's inevitably like always a meltdown week, like truly, like there's a week where I'm just like, I look at my wife, I'm like, I'm exhausted, and like I could even take you through one that happened 2 weeks ago. I'm training really hard for this. I'd done this 50K, and I'm traveling for work at the same time, and like I'm just being stretched super thin. We're both not sleeping well, like maybe our daughters aren't sleeping that well, and there's just like all these like life things going on, along with business getting busy, along with fitness and pursuing this big goal. Like we're about to do this world record thing. Um, and I get on a plane flight to come home, and I can't remember exactly where I'm coming from, but my wife packs me beats because good for your VO2 max. We're staying on top of our schedule here. I have them in a baggie. Well, and on the last beat, I'm on a flight and we're about to land, like 30 minutes from landing. I'm like sleep deprived. I'm exhausted, and I take a bite of this beet and I can't swallow it, and my airways clogged up, and I'm choking on a plane. And I get up, I unbuckle my seatbelt, and I have to tap a guy to give me the Heimlich maneuver on a plane. I've never had this happen in my life. I've never choked on anything in my life. I spit it out. It's okay. United's there taking care of me, and I'm sorry I'm going into this long story about it, but there's a point to this. Um, I spit it out. I get over with this thing, and like I come home and it's super emotional. We're just sitting there talking about like how crazy of a moment it was. I felt like I was choking and I was like gonna die. And thank God that I like survived it. But like, how crazy is it? Like, I'm a fit dude. I'm doing all this stuff. It seems all great, and there's just like this moment where it's like you almost choked on a beat and died, man. Like that's like it's a really scary thing realization, but you just have all this busyness going on in your life, and you're just kind of flying by the seat of your pants, and then all of a sudden all this kind of catches up with you, and if you're not careful, whenever I'm not careful and I'm just yes go, things like that happen. And it's just kind of for me, it's a reminder from God that like take it easy. You don't always have to go full force in all these things you do, to take a back seat, relax, live a little more slowly. And I those reminders, not that intensely, not like life-threatening reminders, they happen every now and then. And I'm just being real honest. Like it was a scary moment. But we're still human, and you gotta just kind of take care of your mentals. And those things happen every now and then when you're going really hard. And I'm sure you guys have, and other people listening to this have experienced, something crazy like that, where there's just like a crash and burn moment where you're overworked and fatigued, and maybe you're not choking on a beat, but something like that can really happen.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Not to get too deep. I'm good. We're fine. But it was just like a wake up call for me, and those things happen every now and then.
Then you have to sit there on the plane the rest of the time.
Oh, it's humiliating. But the guy who actually gave me the Heimlich maneuver was ended up being a great guy. He was going to play a golf course in Houston that I've played before, and we talked about golf. And that's a really intense story to throw on a podcast. I'm sorry for that, but it's just the truth. It's just something that happened in my life, and it's just reality.
Are your crash weeks typically like dramatic, or is this a little bit of an anomaly?
That was totally an anomaly. Like, they're not that dramatic, and I don't give a lot of attention to them, and I will just take a day or two off and just relax. Like, this was totally an anomaly, and just kind of, I don't typically train for a Guinness World Record and doing something this intense. But yeah, once you kind of hit that crash and burn, you just kind of hit the reset button for a week, hang with family, just do the things that are really important. You're not going to lose that much fitness if you just take a back seat and relax. So like after that instance, I did, like, you can ask my wife, I kind of hung at home for like 3 or 4 days and worked and just kind of relaxed. Mileage wasn't great. Didn't look at Strava. Didn't get worried about all that stuff. Like, the hay was in the barn by then. It was a reality check, honestly. And I think a lot of people get wrapped up in like the Stravas and the race results and all that stuff, and the stay hard Goggins mentality. And like you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah. Kirk, am I allowed to ask yet about training for this?
Of course. Yes. Yeah, definitely.
I didn't know if I'm shortcutting your process yet.
No, you're not. No, I just wanted to do Kyle as a human being. I didn't want to do it a disservice by just jumping right into what he had just done. So we can jump in now. I'm cool.
Well, you said the hay was in the barn, and what does putting the hay in the barn look like when training for this? Is this pure, like, in isolation, I train for an ultra and I play some golf? Or did you take it more intensely or specifically than that?
That's a really good question. I think for me, and I think for a lot of people that would train for this, the best way I approached it was like just time on the feet. I didn't care if it was walking the dog, the kids, whatever it was, getting my steps in. Like, if I had a 50, 60 mile week, that's great. But I didn't really surpass that. Like, it was just a lot of time on the feet and more mental reps of anything. Like, I've already done a couple of these things. I've done the 100-miler deal. I know I had a great feeling that my grip could withstand that. It's just mentally knowing that, okay, you're starting in the evening, and then you're going to have about 14 or plus hours of daylight in the extreme heat. Like, you better be prepared for it, because you can't just falter at the back half of this effort. Like, you have to press, and you have to spend less time at the aid station. And so every time I was training, whether I was lifting weights or or running or jogging or walking the girls, like in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, look, the sun's out, you're sweating right now. Just think about what it's going to take when you cross that ninth hole and the first tee is looking at you right there, and there's a aid station with shade right here. That is strictly a pass through. And you get 1 minute to just tap in, have a swig of Coke, have your gel, whatever it is, and then get right back to the first tee because you have a record to break and set, and someone's going to go after it eventually. So you might as well get the number out.
So you started in the evening?
Say that?
You started in the evening?
Yeah, 6 p.m. start.
Is that simply because of when it was available?
You know, it was a couple reasons. I did the Grindstone 100 in Virginia back in September, and that's when they started. And that was kind of like, it's really uncomfortable because you have the full day. You're just awake and get the anticipation for it. But it's kind of relaxing because, like, if there's any things you need to get in for the aid station, you can still go out and do groceries or answer calls and stuff before you go out there and race. But I wanted to get, really make hay and get a lot of the holes in the evening and then into the dark when I was fresh. It wasn't as hot. So I could hit that number of breaking the 420. I think we broke it at like 5 a.m. So I still had 12 and a half hours or something like that remaining to double down on what we just did. In my mind, I just thought the evening would be better. And also just ending at 6 p.m. to accommodate everyone else that was coming out and just kind of celebrate the event was a total bonus for it. So that's why I chose the time.
Got it. So you said you got your 10,000 reps in by the time you're in 12th grade and then you stopped. Did you play? Was there an uptick in playing during this, or did you, my hands, I would have been terrified for my hands, my rotating, my shoulders. I would have been terrified for the little, the connective pieces to the club and the ground.
Yeah, I had a couple golf clubs. I had golf clubs laying around in my office, in the gym. Even I had one in the passenger seat of my car, and I just I don't know, when I was working out, I just grab it and do just some full hacks, 3 to 5 at a time while I'm sweating and just kind of feeling what the burn. One day I did over 500 swings in about a 45-minute span of burpees up and down the driveway and just a weight vest and just swinging 10 times.
Just compromise swinging.
Exactly. Big compromise swinging.
Okay.
It's the truth. But yeah, it wasn't really a precise matter of we need to hit this every day. It was kind of a knuckle draggers mentality. It's fit it in where you can and just know your grip can withstand it.
So I'm sure you researched Burns's attempt to some extent, but for the listeners who didn't listen to his interview with us, he played one-handed golf, essentially. He would tee off and then he'd run down, and more often than not, in stride, polo hit it. He found that was he'd rather hit more and never stop moving. It sounds like you played golf.
Yeah. I don't know what I think about the one-handed attempt. I mean, it's great. I personally don't feel like it's necessary. You're going to hit more errant shots with one arm that are going to go left, right, low. I think one club is about as limited as you should take it. Getting the ball in the air and being a little more precise is probably going to save you a lot more effort. He didn't have a live stream of his deal, so I really did want to watch how he did it. But I have to imagine there was right there towards the end of it, using one arm, he probably topped some and tugged them into the rough and, into a bunker. And then he's really penalizing yourself because you're not advancing the ball very efficiently, in my opinion. So yeah, I played legit golf.
And how, what was your approach like? Were you, I get 2 breaths or did you just take your time and hit well?
I mean, I'm a no practice swing guy since probably after college. So I can get up and hit really quickly. I do have a little fidget where I have to look 2 or 3 times at the hole or at each putt. But yeah, it was just walk up swing and it was 3, 2, 1, go. Every time, 3, 2, 1, go.
While you were putting, was it impatient to wait for the ball to stop moving?
Oh, the worst. And
I feel like that would be terrible.
Sorry, I cut out. When you have a 3-footer and I wasn't using a putter. I was bellying the wedge, so using the bottom end of the wedge. And when you have a 3-footer and a putt you should make 85% of the time, and then you blow it by like 5 feet, and you're just sitting there waiting, and you're just getting impatient. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it was excruciating.
Did you did the fatigue? I'm sure there was some like sleep deprivation starting to set in and all of that. Did that affect how well you played golf? Like how much did your golf game improve, stay the same, or degrade as it went on?
I think there was more blow up holes. I was looking at it at the end. My last round was 3 over. I made three bogeys, and then I had 6 pars. So that was impressive. Kind of had the crowd behind me, but I didn't have. I had a few like blow up rounds in the last like 2 hours where I shot like 12 over par, and that was basically like a triple or quadruple bogey on like 1 or 2 of the holes where I was just like frustrated, and I just kept it was like a game of hockey trying. It's the Happy Gilmore scene where he's like keeps hitting it and hitting it. That's what it looked like, and it's just like at that point you're just like mentally so checked out, and you're just like just fall in the hole.
How many out of 100 shots, let's say the sum of the entire game, how many tops, divots, misses? Did you ever get to a point where you were like, what was that? Like, and you like how bad did some of them get? Because I imagine they had to at some point.
Well, it's a good question. Every time I came on to number 2, like 50% of the time in the last 4 hours, I would fat the ball like 40 yards. It was so frustrating. I don't know why it just kept happening on number 2, but I'd hit like this far behind the ball and almost miss it. And that was so frustrating because you have a wedge in your hand. You should never do that, but it's just right towards the end of the event. I only lost 1 ball for the whole duration of the event, which is kind of crazy. And it happened like round 6 or 7. I can't remember what it was, but I just thinned one right over the green. But yeah, I was hitting shots fat. I never really shanked one off into the woods or anything, or into the bayou or water. I just kept hitting it fat when I was getting tired.
So what was your setup like? Waist belt? What? How are you carrying balls? I assume you don't need any tees.
Mm-hmm.
You're just lay it and go. But were you bottle based, gel based? Like, what was your actual gear setup like for this?
Yeah, I have one of these things called like it's an endorphin belt. The guy sent me one like probably 5 days before the event, and I never tested it out. Uh, in fact, on my way to the course, I cut it so it was like there was no loose slack from the drawstring or anything. And I was like, I'm just going to wear this thing. I had one of those naked belts that I wore, but I really just stuffed 1 ball in it, and then like 3 or 4 sodium packets from the supplement company I'm working with, Protect. It's like these little 500 milligram hydration packets. They're liquid, they're sweet, and you can just smoke them on the go. And that was just to keep the sodium intake up because of how much I was sweating. Like from the first hole, I was drenched, and because it was just so hot.
Towel.
Yeah, the towel thing. In hindsight, I wish I would have had like a clip or a magnetic thing to like tuck my towel in, but it's really hard. Like at the end of the day, like it's hard to kind of just like fit, unless it's like on a drawstring is what I should have had. It's a towel attached to a drawstring, but then you have to circulate it because it gets so wet after like every other round because you're pouring water on yourself constantly. So to answer your question though, race belt, like 3 or 4 packs of sodium that amounted to like 2,000 milligrams, and then 1 extra ball in there. But my food and my drink was all, I was passing the aid station every 15 minutes or less, call it. So I really was just consuming what the plan was like gels and this deal called Hyperlight. It's this carb mix, but my gut started to kind of freak out on me. So we ordered a bunch of fries and burgers and pizza, and I was pulling the cheese off that. And I pretty much for the last 8 or 9 hours, I was finished hole 9, stuffed my face with a handful of fries, down it with some Coke, and then advance and grab a piece of pizza, peel the cheese off, take 2 bites, coconut water, and then bottle of water for the road and hit the first tee. And that happened in about 30, 45 seconds, honestly.
That's crazy. Pretty good adaptation on the fly.
It sounded good.
What was the longest pit or stationary time period for you, and when and why?
I think at like Right after, like, one 9-hole loop after we had hit 421. I think I did one more 9-hole loop, and then I came in and I had to go to the restroom, and had to go into the barn, and so that was probably a 20-minute stop or less. And I was like, if I'm going to take this time, I'm going to go in the stall, get everything out. I'm going to come back in. I'm going to lay a towel down, kick my feet up on the table for 5 minutes, get them vertical, and then I don't get another hard, slow stop for the rest of this thing. We got 13 more hours to work with. And so that was the longest stop, about 20 minutes. And then I had one more sit down in a recliner that was probably like 3 to 5 minutes is my guess, right around like 10 a.m. when it really started to get hot. And then after that, I did like kind of some dummy math, and I was like, we're not going to get to 800 unless I spend a minute or less every aid station stop. And so when I'd come in, like, one of the sweet girls from Turtle Box, Carly, she had the pizza in hand and the Coke, and she was just handing it to me. And I was like, do not let me sit here for more than 45 seconds. And every time there was 45 seconds, I was like, just tell me. And sometimes it was like a 5-second pit stop. Sometimes I didn't even see them. And then sometimes it was like a minute or 45 seconds. But I really didn't surpass that from like 10 a.m. to probably 5:30 p.m.
So have you compared your mileage to Eric's?
No, not at all. I've completely written off Eric Burns since he big leagued me.
Okay. I'll stop bringing him up. Other than to talk bad about him.
He's a pickleballer now, man. He's soft. He's gone soft on us.
He's on to softer pastures.
I thought what I was doing was the widest thing ever, an ultra marathon on a golf course. He's going a step further with the pickleball thing. No.
That is a very white thing to do.
Yeah, it is.
So let's merge worlds here. Ultra marathoning in a vacuum, golf ultra marathoning. It's not in a vacuum. It's its own thing. What translated to this golf Guinness World Record from your ultra background, and what didn't?
What translated to it?
What do you think, like, your history in ultras and training, like, where you're like, yep, this is the exact same? And then what was there? Was it everything? What was different? Is it just is the skill component of having to hit a ball actually made the 24 hours go by quicker? Was it way worse? Like,
no.
What's the perspective?
Okay, this is good. So it was actually a lot harder because the stop and start of having to hit and then run faster and then having to stop and then run faster. The runs in between shots were faster than anything I've done in ultra marathons. I look down sometimes and it would say, like, I'd look at my watch and my pace was like 6:55 or 7:10. And I'm like, that's way too fast. But then I'm recovering quickly because there's this come down for about 5 to 10 seconds wherever I'm hitting. And then the stop and start was hard. But I will say it's the one thing that did translate over is when you're in the ultra marathons, there's always points where you're like in pain and you start to think, I need to stop and I need to quit, and like it's hurting and I'm going to injure myself further. This can't go on. And it totally happened like really early in this one, like right around mile 30. My right knee was just bugging. But I look back at the last two I did, and there were so many points where I felt like I needed to stop. And if you just get to tell yourself, like, this storm shall pass, like this pain's going to go away, you start training your mind, like it will go away, and it does. Whether it's by too much Advil consumption or whatever, like eventually you get past this injury. That's just the reality of it. Like you got to take some Advil and whatever the cooling spray I had play on. I was just lathering it in that, and eventually it did go away. And just telling yourself, like, it's gonna pass. This pain passes. Like there's just peaks and valleys through it all, but just one step at a time. Like I read one guy's post about high rocks, and one of his notes was when he got out of the sleds, he would tell himself, just take five strong steps right out of the sleds, and it can get you a fast 1K split. Just 5 strong steps, and you'll set the pace for the rest of that 1K. I thought that was really good. And it's kind of what I tell myself, like a longer version of when I'm feeling that pain. Just just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just start churning again, and you'll eventually, that momentum will drive you into the next shot. Okay, hit the next shot and do the same thing over to the next tee box. Okay, just keep stacking that.
Pretty much any race I've done in my life that was not a standard distance, like 5Ks are 5Ks, whatever. I don't care how hilly it gets. Anything that's atypical, OCR, high rocks, ultras, most trail races, there's at least one thing where you think, I'm so glad I did blank. And at least one time you think, I had no idea that I should have been doing blank. What were those realizations on course for you?
Gosh, that's a really good question. You want this one's, it's hard because I'm sitting here like talking about what I did, but it was just the support that I had was amazing. And
Okay.
I'm so glad that I started a YouTube channel and this guy named David found me, and he drove all the way from Dallas and unannounced. He saw what I was doing on YouTube, unannounced, came to this event, and he paced me for like the last 30 miles of this thing. I'm not even kidding. A complete stranger. And he would carry two water bottles with me and hand me one on the 5th hole, and I douse myself, and hand me another one on the 8th hole, and I douse myself. If I don't think I would have gotten 800 without him.
So you probably never, did you consider a pacer before he offered? I guess that didn't even cross my mind. A pacer in your golf game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I needed pacers out there, honestly. And Guinness requires you to have a scorekeeper every round. So like we had people that were time stamping the start and finish. So I always had someone with me, but inevitably, like the scorekeeper probably thinks they can do more than they can, and they would get really tired, and like someone had to step up and run with me. And in those final hours of the event, the sun's up, everyone's tired. Like we've got guys from the media team that weren't able to, like they're exhausted too, and they're kind of filming the last of this. And you need people stepping up that are like, good shot or whatever, but they're able to keep up with you in the heat because there's no shade on this course. There's not even a single tree between holes 1 and 9. So it's, yeah, I'd love to say there's like something I did that I'm glad I did it, but really I just had like amazing support out there and other people stepping up and like keep holding me accountable to dousing myself with water, having sodium, nutrition, all that stuff.
Are you more proud of your golf game or your running?
Running. I feel like I kept a kick the whole time, whether I was like fatigued and just drowning or not. Like I did not stop. I feel like I just was like a machine on the back half of this thing. So very proud of my running, because Kyle 2 years ago could not. He could never.
That's a great feeling.
Yeah.
All right. So even if you never will, if someone breaks this and you were to do it again and say, okay, all my eggs in this basket, I'm going to set this either out of reach or as far as I could ever hope to do it, what are you doing differently?
I'm not doing it in Texas, for one.
I think that's worth 20 miles right there.
100%. And I'm not doing it in the hottest time of the year. Like it is so humid and hot, and on the summer solstice, like the planning in reality is terrible. Other than like doing it at the time I did, like the 6 p.m. thing, like this time of year just worked out better for my family and like work and stuff like that. Like we had to knock it out when the opportunity came. But yeah, I would do it differently. I'd pick some time in the winter months where it's like 40, 50 degrees or something, and it's nice and cool, and I can get in a lot of heat training down here and go somewhere else. Even if it's at an elevation, I wouldn't mind that. And then I'd probably just be a little more calculated with training and the gear I'm actually using on race day. But then again, if you geek out too much on that stuff, I'm not one of those people. I'm just like a person who it doesn't really like. I didn't really plan my outfits to like right before. I didn't plan my shoes like right before. I just like once the competition starts, I like the feeling of locking in. If I geek out too much on the gear and all that stuff, if I obsess on it, I don't do well. I never have. So I kind of
like you described the day as the race and the competition. He never said the event or it's been, those are the words you've used to describe it. I just find that fascinating. You called it a race.
It was race against myself.
Right. It's very interesting. How do you, I don't know the process. I guess you don't need to go into too much depth, but how does one go from I have an idea and would like to set a world record or break a Guinness World Record? What is step one through event day, and what does it look like on event day for this to be sanctioned? What's the process
With Guinness?
with Guinness? Yeah,
It's honestly super challenging. Like right off the bat, like and I will say to Burns' credit, the one message he sent me was it's going to be a total pain with Guinness and be ready to spend a bunch of money. And he was right, and get like not a lot of feedback. Like you have to pay $1,000 to get your application even looked at. They look at it and they have a laundry list of rules, and you really got to thoroughly explain with a lot of back and forth emails through a different time zone of what you're doing, the regulations for it and whatnot. You schedule a call, something goes wrong, like they don't have the perfect description of the event or understanding of the event. There's a lot of back and forth, and you're at the mercy of Guinness. And it costs a lot of money. And then you finally get connected with your judge about 3 or 4 weeks out. You have to pay for their hotel.
Hold on, can I stop you real quick? Sorry.
Yeah, go. You're good.
Just specifics, like what are some of the criteria, or what were you getting hung up on, or what were some of the questions they asked that like the specifics they need?
Yeah, so like for instance, when I first prompted this, there's like you go through this portal of like filling out your application of like what exactly are you doing, who's going to be monitoring it, where are you doing it, what's the cause, blah, blah, is it for a nonprofit, are you a business, an individual, like all these really details of the actual day of event and the accomplishment. Is it a new record or is it an existing record? And then so you get to that point, they submit it, they review it, and then they have a call. And in my case, within the first call, they were reading off the regulations, and they were under the impression that I was playing one hole for 24 hours. And I was like, guys, we got this all wrong. This is not what we're doing. We're playing a real golf course for 24 hours, and I'm just going to be looping it. And once I said that, everything stopped. Call ended. They have to go back to the drawing board and spend a week or two, like probably 3 weeks out from this event, to re-review and push it through their board. I don't know how it all works internally.
Why wouldn't I mean, you can't answer this, but like it's already been set. Why would you say I'm doing what he did, but in this version?
Yeah. We're doing it.
It would seem logical.
I know, and it's maybe just like a lack of understanding of the game of golf. I don't know. I'm not going to trash like Guinness or here to tarnish their name or drag it through the mud.
That's all you hear though, is that they're a nightmare to deal with.
It's true. They're not easy. Our judge was great. He's done work with. Okay, so yeah, this part. So our judge gets in. You buy his hotel room. You pay for his flight. He comes in a day early, and then he gets to the event around noon. And you have to have everyone's scorecards compiled. In fact. I have
that judge has to be like, please, not another 24-hour event.
Yeah,
that's what he's got. He's like, just please, not another 24-hour event. That guy is probably more of an expert on sleep deprivation than anybody you know. That poor man.
Yeah, he does not like him. He said he likes the food events the most, like hot dog eating and stuff like that. But you have to have everything recorded. 2 different camera angles, and he sits there at a laptop. And then we had like my wife put together this amazing binder with like a scorecard and all the rules. And she had like all the email history with our judge. I don't know if you can see all this, but like she had binders allocated for every hour and every scorecard. And they have the timestamp from the start to finish. And he comes in and basically lays this all out on the table. And he's like looking at this through the binder.
Oh, so he wasn't there.
No.
Live.
No. He got there at noon, so 6 hours before the finish, and he reviews all the tape at 8 speed, and he'll stop it and be like, "All right, at this hour, this minute, you made this score. Go back and look at it. Okay, it's good. Keep going." And he'll just repeat and do that. And he's in that room for like 4 hours or whatever it was, and then he kind of comes out in the suit in the last hour and kind of sees me finish a few times and tells me not to touch him because I'm too sweaty.
So wait, so you had to have 2 people following you for every shot, every step of the way, with 2 different POVs?
Yeah, 2 different POVs with 1 individual scorekeeper for every shot.
And the scorekeeper just must be, I guess they can verify with the video, but so it's pretty thorough. It sounds like, huh? Like pretty airtight, you would say?
I would say, yeah. I mean, every stroke was accounted for, whether I made a 9 on a par 3 or a 2. Every stroke was very thoroughly accounted for. but he just comes in and literally audits the record. And like there were a couple scares with like our live stream cutting out. And if we had, thank God, we had like the best group. We had a drone following me the whole time. I don't know if y'all caught any of the live stream. I haven't seen it yet. I can't wait to just kind of watch it and re-review the tape of it. But everyone loved the live stream and the comments were flowing. But you had that, and you also had a golf cart following me with the camera mounted to it the whole time, which also is just, with all this going on, is an immense amount of pressure that, you know, a bunch of people are watching you on a live stream, fat a shot that's like 100 yards. But
I don't know if I would like, I don't mind being the center of attention, but I don't crave it. We'll put it that way. But isn't that like all eyes on you for 24 hours for me would be, I guess maybe you just get numb to it. And I was on national TV and I guess I got numb to it. But like that process, was that weird?
oh yeah, it was super weird. Like, especially in the wee hours of the night, like everyone left around like 4 a.m. and there's just like a drone buzzing over you for like 2 hours. It's just zzz, every shot. And yeah, it's weird. But my wife's probably like smiling hearing this. She's like, you love it. I'm like, yeah, I kind of love like the pressure being on and all that, but it's still.
So you had this was a production. How many different drone operators did you have?
Oh, so we had really, we had a media team of about 4 people: Kyle, Jack, Colby, and Colin. And Colby, who's Kyle's brother, I'm giving you details you don't need, but he's like the live stream master of the universe. He's amazing. He plowed through 35 drone batteries in the first 12 hours. And this is a drone that's constantly tracking me on the course through this loop. So you had him operating this and kind of.
You have 2 drones or 1 drone?
He might have had 3. I don't know.
So they had multiple they could pick up as they're swapping batteries and such.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So one would come down and then they're filming me on the golf cart while that one's coming down, and they're switching into the other one, and then just comes right back over me. It's great because it was a 1 mile loop on this course. But so we had those 4 main guys who was just like the dream team assembled, and then they had some of Colby's like volunteers had some younger guys that came and like drove the cart around and followed me in certain hours. And so it took a village, and they executed so freaking well. I mean, he does these live stream things pretty regularly for like rally car races and stuff, and he says there's inevitably always like one downtime or Wi-Fi goes out, and it didn't happen. And so it was like God had his hand over us that day.
I didn't think about a technical issue being like could be a major hiccup where like you're just dead in the water if that isn't completely smooth, because it has to be logged, right? So you could have been just sitting there with your hands in your pockets if something went wrong.
Exactly. He had it all in like 4K. It was like quality streaming, and it was so much effort, but it made Michael, our judges from Guinness, it made his job a lot easier when he could just come and just plow through all the footage, and it was clear.
Are you comfortable sharing how much
I was just going to ask
this thing set you guys back?
Ooh, all in for the whole event?
Yeah, start to finish. Ballpark,
like media team, Guinness, like food for the aid
drone
station.
batteries, all that stuff isn't cheap, brother.
Oh yeah, well they had all the camera team and all of that had their equipment. So like I'll put all that aside. Easily a $20,000 endeavor.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, easily.
Did you have to pay for the golf course?
I did not. They have a night league plays there at 5:30 and 7:30. And that it's like they do a shotgun start on every hole. So I did have to play through those guys for the first hour and a half, which was actually really cool because they're like all a bunch of dudes like 25 years old or 30 years old drinking beer and like playing golf. And they're like, oh,
so they were for it.
Oh, they were like the biggest fans. Like all the messages I got on Instagram was like, dude, that was sick watching you play through 5 times. Like I played through some groups 5 times, and in the amount that they played 1 round, they were like, it was awesome. So that was kind of a fun little audience. But yeah, I didn't have to pay to lock out the golf course. They're gracious enough to not to make this like any more of a whitest man ever. But it's my buddy's golf course. It's a public golf course. But yeah, he came up with the idea of having this 9-hole loop in Houston, and so well located with downtown Houston in the backdrop, and it's kind of like the people's golf park here now, and it's just blown up. And he was gracious enough to block out the full tee sheet and let me go after it.
So if someone's going to beat this, what is it going to take?
Like I said, be more calculated on where you do it. Like the climate is really a factor. I try and find a course with minimal bunkers and minimal hazards, and then just the training for it. Like you better have a 100-mile race under your belt, or it's going to be really hard to kind of push yourself through 100 miles and golf. That's what I would say the hardest part is, like the nutrition. Anyone who does a 100-miler knows this, but like you can practice nutrition all you want, but when you get to the day of, you're probably going to buy $450 of groceries and all these crazy snacks that you think you're going to want. And then you're going to get 20 miles into that race or 30 miles and your gut's going to change and your taste buds are going to be raw from all the sodium or whatever. And all you're going to want is like McDonald's French fries like I did, or a pizza. So don't rely on, whatever you get at the grocery store is going to be your nutrition plan or whatever you're used to having. Like be able to adapt and change on the fly very quickly. And unforeseens are just going to pop up.
Yeah. Is having a little bit of vertical change better or worse for something like this?
Good question. Really good question. The course I did it on, I would probably say we had probably like 5,000 feet in like overall gain, because it was actually really hilly. But having the hills on a lot of golf courses are designed with like a high tee box and a low green, which is actually super beneficial, I felt, during the event, because when you want to start slow, just kind of having a downhill right after a shot was super beneficial. So to answer your question, I would pick a hilly course again. I would do something like that for sure.
Elevator pitch on the training. Did Kyle basically continue training as he usually does and swing the club a little bit more, or did you really get super specific? Or is it body of work? Do you call this body of work?
It was the former. I really trained like Kyle normally does, with just throwing in more time on the feet and mileage. I crushed so much mileage going into Grindstone, which was in September, but I would get on the freaking Stairmaster with a weight vest sometimes for 2.5 hours and just not touch the bars and just march. And I was so prepped for that 100-miler, and that was 27,000 feet of climbing. And so I had this great background of just like a ton of vertical training. I mean, here in Houston. So I just kind of relied on that from like 8 months ago, and just implemented a lot more mileage with like a bare minimum of 40 miles a week of running. Top end, I got
a ton of stuff on top of it, though. I know you. Like, it was 40 miles a week of running, but how much were you on the assault bike, and how many hours in a CrossFit box? And like, you're training 12 plus hours a week, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's about right. 12. You nailed it.
And what did you say you topped out at for mileage?
65 miles. And that was, again, like I did this goofy challenge where I tried to make a hole-in-one every day, and I add a shot every day, and for every shot I hit, I had to run a mile. And I got to like day 15 or 16, day 16, until I finally made a hole-in-one on a short par 3 out at East River. It's like 85 or 95 yards. But I took 2 days off and then ran a 50K on that Saturday. So that was why that was a big week. Other than that, I was really hovering between like 40 or 50 miles. But, like Kirk said, I'm still on my feet a lot. I'm still training a lot. I think weight training is super valuable for something like that. I just don't think you can be just like a runner. Like, you also have to fatigue those muscles a lot, because you're doing a lot of this rotation and core, and you still need strength.
Yeah. So someone's going to have to outrun you to beat this. They're not going to outplay you by much.
For sure. I don't, in my opinion, I don't think anyone's going to be a better golfer with the wedge in there. I mean, I think someone said I either par or birdie. If you look at the stat, it's like with one club, I was still almost 45% par or birdie on every hole. So like every other hole was like a par or birdie, which I think it could have even been higher if I'd had a putter in my hand, but I 3-putted or 4-putted like a lot of holes. I'm scared to watch the live stream of it. But
would you consider a second club for that purpose? If you could rig a vest?
Yeah, the only way I would do it, that's a good point. Like if I could slide one in and pull out a putter, I think I'd do a little better.
Like an extendo handle putter?
Yeah, or like on the opposite end of the grip, like on the close end of the grip would just be a putter, and so I just flip the club back and forth.
Oh.
Yeah.
That would be sick, right?
This is what I'm here for.
Yeah, but honestly, I would practice bellying a wedge a lot more. I put in almost no practice with just like how to flatten the wedge and roll a putt. So I would, in hindsight, that would probably be the number one thing I would have practiced more is just bellying a wedge and just learning how to putt with a wedge.
Yeah. Okay.
You go ahead.
Now, my last question, I think, is how bad did your hands get? And what was your strategy for them? Were you taping up or at some point?
No, I didn't tape them up at all. So historically, like in high school, anytime I played golf, and I think this is what helped me, I never wore a glove. I was always a running shoe and no golf glove guy. And I don't know really why I did it. It might have just been kind of lazy. I don't know. Everyone wears a golf glove, but my hands were pretty beat up, and I used one golf glove the whole time. My hands, I mean, I've got like a couple big or blister bubbles on them now, and they were pretty raw and like inflamed after the event. Like I looked like they were like Shrek ogre hands at the end, and they're just so burned because it's constant like grip and churn on the rubber grip. But it's more. I don't know. They're fine now. Honestly, I could go back and play. I could play 18 holes of golf right now.
Well, yeah, if you got a half hour in your day.
Yeah. Good point.
Other questions for you. I'm trying to think. I had a bit of a list. So post event now, we're 2 days removed. How's the come down from it? If a guy who always needs to chase big things, are you feeling empty, or are you feeling still like, are you still satisfied from 2 days ago? Like, what's the mindset right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of people have said like, man, can't wait to see the next event, or like, wait to see what you do next. I'm like, can I just like chill and get some credit for what we just did? So I'm trying to just like relax and be pumped about it. But the come down was hard. I really haven't slept a whole lot, but I'll tell you, like, the most gratifying thing of this whole deal is how much money we've raised for Camp Aransas Zoo. When I first went out to do this, I was like, man, it'd be really cool if we could raise $10,000. And I had a buddy, Austin, was like, dude, you need to add another zero. This is going to be great. You need to go for 100,000 minimum. And I was like, that's crazy. There's no way. But I'm pumped to say we are like right there at almost $100,000. I think combined with per hole pledges, everything that's about to come, we're at like 90,000 already raised, and people are just donating kind of probably as we speak. Like there's more people that are getting contributions as they learn about this. So I'm still kind of on the high of it all, but I'm very sleep deprived, and that's about it.
I want to hear about the cause specifically, but first, just a side point. It is wild how in a long enough run or ultra, if you sat down at any point, you could fall into the deepest sleep of your life instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment it's done and you get back to your bed, you are not sleeping well. It is the most unfair, non-logical phenomenon.
It's crazy. I like it, and I feel like it happens with like any race, but you're right, especially in the ultras. Like you're so tired, and I could fall asleep like that when it was like 3 or 4 a.m. And then that come down when you come back, you're wired, you're on this high, and I still am not like I've had 2 opportunities of sleep. Our girls were even out of the house. My parents took care of them the first night, and there was no distraction, no dog, no kids, and I was just like up, looking around the house all night, like tossing and turning on the couch. It was kind of miserable.
You said it earlier, but like your bones vibrate.
Yeah, and that was different for the past 200 milers I did. My bones didn't feel like this. I just couldn't walk. This one I could kind of walk, but it was like to the bone, like the interior of the bone. Like my bones were just throbbing, and I couldn't sit still. I was just turning and couldn't find any comfort.
Mhm.
And I've never felt that.
Yeah, there was a video of Cam Hanes after Moab in his hotel room. I don't know. Like we see the hero shots and everybody finishing and smiling. And then the alone moments back at the hotel or home when it's like you're so tired, your soul is tired and you can't sleep because you're restless and you can't help it. Yet it's like you're painfully tired, but still awake. It's like something you can't even describe, really.
Yeah.
That feeling. It's murderous. You're probably still in it a little bit. Like if you probably sit still and pay attention, your insides are probably feeling funny. I bet you. I would think.
Yeah,
You're still not down all
it's
the way.
true. I did. I like tried to lay on a yoga mat this morning in the garage, and I was just like, my body is still just like it's like pulsing. It's like throbbing. It's like it's still on this wave of just like pain, and I just can't sit still and relax. Like you could put me on a beach with a margarita and sunny and 75, and I would still like just be. I'd feel like I'd have to flip over in the beach chair constantly because it's just like not comfortable. But it's worth it. It's worth it. Don't ever let yourself down. It's worth it.
Who is the organization and why that organization?
Yeah, so Camp Aranzazu, it's a camp on the coast here. It's about 100 acres of protected coastline in Rockport, Texas. And what they do is they bring down kids in groups, that have cancer, disabilities, illnesses, and whatnot, and they give them this outdoor, like Texas coast thing, experience that they probably don't get because of maybe like a missing limb, or they've been in the hospital for a few years with cancer, or very very serious limiting factors. And so they have big zip line out there. They take them kayaking, birding, sailing. They have a really cool sailing facility. They'll fish. They get to just do all this stuff that they've been robbed of with their disability or their illness. And what Camp Aranzazu does that's really unique, like no other camp like this really exists. You can dig into it as much as you want, and they have all the medical staff on site, sometimes up to like 20 plus people that are doing their check-ins and all the things these kids need on a daily basis. And to take it a step further is they'll cover a lot of times 2/3 of these kids' dues when they come down, and by way of donation. And so all this money that I'm raising is helping kids get down to camp that maybe couldn't afford it and maybe don't have like I've grown up with, Galveston, Texas, where like we have a beach and I can go fishing and hunting and do all the great stuff that I've been so privileged to do. Maybe they don't have that, and they've just been in a hospital room. They haven't seen anything outside of that window. And to take it even another step further, if they have a sibling like that's a year or two with them, and they don't really get that, sharing a bedroom or whatever relationship with their sibling, they'll pay for the sibling to come down too, and just kind of put them up in a room where they get to go do this stuff together, and they go get to bird and sail and get this outdoor experience again that they've just been robbed of due to their illness. So it's super, it gets me emotional talking about it. But I think that was a big point. Is like I had this hat with this Camp Aranzazu logo on it. And I had a Bible verse from James 1, verse 2. The verse is, "Consider it pure joy when you face the trials of many times, because you know that in the testing of faith, you'll develop perseverance." And I thought of that, like I'm struggling out here on the course and it's going towards a good cause. But to take it even a step further, I think what these kids go through and the opportunities they're kind of being robbed of, but they deserve, just due to being ill. Like they're pushing through challenges that are a lot harder than, some guy with a bunch of people behind him cheering him on to play golf and run 100 miles. And so it's an amazing cause and just an amazing camp. And really the objective of this, it's great to get a world record and all that, but to raise awareness for this camp and raise a ton of money for them is way more of an accomplishment than, my name on a picture with a Guinness stamp on it.
How did you come upon this camp?
A really good family friend and client of my business started the camp about, I think it was 20 something years ago. And so they asked me to help them with facilitate a clay shoot a couple years back. And that's really where I had no idea about them a couple years ago. And I knew that this was this really cool camp down the coast. And then I went and visited it, and I was just mind blown at the amazing people that worked for it, and instantly knew that, oh, I've got to do something to raise money for this camp. It's so cool. I mean, my mom's been impacted by cancer. She's a 2-time cancer survivor. She's had leukemia and breast cancer. My wife's mom sadly passed when we started dating from cancer. And I just, things like that just really tugged at me. And I knew I had to find a way to do something that was more than just, Kyle getting a cool thing done.
How long did it take to decide upon this as that route?
Ooh. I think I got done. I'm trying to think of the last race. I guess it was after Grindstone. I was like, I can't do another one of these things unless we find an organization to like call attention to. And I will say, I saw like Matt Johnson when he did his run across Texas. Y'all have seen that. I just love the idea of like doing these endurance feats to like raise money for awareness. So I saw what he was doing. That's cool. And I was like, man, I'd love to up the ante and kind of try to do something on my own, find something that's local, relatable here in Texas, and pulls at things that I care about, passionate about the outdoors and, helping kids that need that. So it was just a perfect fit, honestly. When I thought golf, endurance, and combine them together, an old pastime and what I'm doing now, it was a shoe-in.
I like it.
I have 2 questions. 2 final questions, and you should probably go take a nap, Kyle.
I'm wired.
One
man.
is
I can't sleep. I do this all day.
One is a selfish question. The other is not. The non-selfish question. Can you hear me right now? We're a little frozen.
I can hear you.
Okay. You got so much on your plate, like life, training, everything, business, of course. How do you people like you? This is actually both of my questions are selfish now that I think about it.
How do I get people to like me?
Yeah, how do I get people to like me? No, how documenting training, and I want to be able to share more with people who care to pay attention, right? To help. That's all I want to do is help. Not for accolades, not for attention, but the thought process of the documentation, the editing, putting this all out there. On top of my busy life, I don't make the time to do those things. So how do you do all that? Is that you, or do you have a team?
I do not have a team. And
you're doing all that yourself. You're monitoring your training and posting about it and sharing all on your own. The stupid golf shot per mile a day thing. Not stupid. It was cool. But like that's all just you and your time and editing and putting it up. That's all you.
It's all me.
Oh.
I have like 2 videos on YouTube that I've had a guy come film me and like work out, and we did like a day of running, and then we did like a garage tour, and then I did day of eating. So I've done 3 on YouTube that were with help, and then obviously I have this media team helping me with the golf deal. But yeah, the things that I'm putting out day to day is if it's not related to the longest day of golf deal and some of these, the build up for that is all me. I take a like a tripod with my phone, put it horizontal, film it, and then use CapCut to edit everything I put on YouTube. And it takes time. Like it does take time, and I get really impatient with it. And I like, waking up early to like start editing those things and just looking my wife in the eye and just being like, I just need 45 minutes to put this out. And the only way we justify it is, man, when I put these videos out of me working out or my outlook on this stuff, I get immediate feedback from people that are like, thank you so much. Like, I'm signing up for my first half Ironman. I just love what you put out. And anytime someone messages me, I try and just, I don't have time to like really type out a message, but I'll always send like a little quick recording of my face and just say, dude, this is what I suggest. Go check this out on Amazon, or this is what you should do for training. I just try and keep it like brief, like 15, 30 seconds. But I've just gotten so much help in my life through training, and just been blessed with a lot of great friends to encourage me and all that stuff. And I see how much it's like changed me as a person, that I don't have a training program or a supplement brand or anything like that to like monetize this. I'm just trying to help people and pay it forward and give them something to look at. Something that my priest at church said. He was like, he said, you never really find yourself until you lose yourself helping others. lose yourself in helping others. And it stuck with me when he said that. And I feel like that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just trying to film this stuff and just show people, no gatekeeping, just here's what I do day to day. And it's a lot of work, but when I get those messages of like someone just signed up for an Ironman, or like, dude, I'm signing up for my first half marathon or 5K, or I love what you're doing. And it's super rewarding and motivating for me. And I think you guys are great at it with this podcast. I mean, you're putting a ton of great stories. I've listened to y'all's podcast for a long time. You're doing the same thing. Maybe it doesn't involve setting up a tripod and going in CapCut and all that stuff. But, what you're doing is giving a free platform here for people to learn and educate themselves and apply it to their training. And you're impacting so many lives with it. So I feel like I'm doing the same thing. I'm just choosing a different route.
The time it takes to edit, though, like that, and specifically, like to put in 1 minute semi-polished Instagram reel of you documenting part of the process is actually so overwhelming to me. And I don't have kids, right? And I work a lot of hours. I am busy, but like I could do it, and it still seems daunting, the time commitment. So it doesn't take away from the experience for you, and like you're spending 45 minutes to an hour making one clip that may get to people's feed, may not. Is that accurate? Like, what is that commitment?
Yeah, I mean, I will say this: when I was like, fraternity bro Kyle, when I was doing that, I would always chop up my like hunting videos and put them on whatever on Instagram and stuff, and then I'd have like, when we had our big fraternity events, I can't believe I'm talking about this stuff, but I'd film it and I'd make like a little video of it. And I got really good at just like piecing it together in the hard days of editing content, like on Final Cut Pro and putting it on a MacBook. And then I completely abandoned that stuff because I was like, this is taking away from hunting in my life. I'm not doing any more of it. But it did refine my skills to very quickly put together videos. So I feel like I had, like, if you will, call it video training 101 in college when I was doing absolutely no fitness. And so it's all kind of just like set me up for all these paths to align to like easily put out videos and not take too much time away from my schedule. But it doesn't take away from the experience because I know I'm helping people. Like every time I put these videos out, I know it's helping someone. And that's, I don't know, I'm starting to feel a calling to do that in my spare time, outside of my business, right? My business and my family and my business is priority one. But when I have the time to kind of put this stuff together, I feel like there's an immense amount of gratitude just helping other people.
We lost the end of that just a little.
That's all right. There's nothing important.
I think it'll still catch it though, Brakken, if we cut in and out, won't it usually?
That's the hope.
That's the hope. I don't know if you have another question. I have one last question, and you kind of gave me a segue, Kyle, and that is you and I both share an extreme passion for the outdoors. You are a avid outdoorsman and hunter and fisherman, and you're always making time for that in the fall. And this is less about spending time hunting and doing that, but more about fall will come and we will have other passions we pursue on top of like the fitness stuff. Can you just talk to me about how you balance it? Because I do struggle. Like I kind of get all into being outside and in the woods in the fall, and my emotional investment in my fitness is honestly zero. I go through the motions. Can you talk me through that? Like you're a guy who has a lot of hobbies. How do you balance it? What are you going to do this fall when duck season rolls around or deer hunting season rolls around?
Oh, really good question. And I always get like in the middle of December and I'm like, gosh, you're turning into a fat slob. You need to tighten it up. I just always try and eat clean during hunting season. And it's so hard to do that. But I do think I train really hard outside of hunting season. So it's like kind of like my mini vacation for whatever our hunting season is, like call it 60 days, or my hunting season at least is probably 60 dedicated days of like either November and January, or like November, December, and January. I'm not going to be hunting that much. So I take it like kind of as a mini vacation from training really hard, because whenever I get to February or March, every year, I always just kind of look in the mirror and I'm like, what have you done? Like box up all the camo. And I just go hard and put all that energy back into training. But I think there's like seasons of life, right? Like through a year.
Do you think it's helpful or hurtful? Because I ask myself that same question. I may do very little purposeful running. I'm still putting in some mileage, but if it slips here, I'm doing half the volume or really not doing the quality work I should. I'm still training a bit. I know you are too. And I waffle over the fact, is it my excuse to detach and I'll be better for it when I come back renewed and revigored when I start training hard again in December and January? Or am I kidding myself and it's actually making me worse long term? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I do. I could preach about it forever, but you and I both know Hunter. Like Hunter McIntyre is a prime example. When Hunter trains hard, he trains hard. But when he doesn't train hard,
Yes, yeah.
he's having fun and he's great. He's the best guy in the world. I love him dearly. And if there's one thing I've learned about him is like siphon that hard training and like go all in there, but do not be and I don't want to offend anyone, but don't be like the loser at the table that can't have a conversation about like something that's completely not related to fitness, like hunting or whatever your favorite thing is. Because if you're constantly going balls to the wall, 100% all in on fitness all the time, there's that inevitable burnout I talked about, and it could be swallowing a beet on an airplane and getting the Heimlich maneuver, or just like falling apart in your training. Like I don't know how it's going to happen, but I do think that break, it sets you up so much better for some hard training and the training, the reward you get from training over like an accumulated 12 months with that break of hunting is probably greater than like, I'm just going to put the thing I'm passionate about and I love hunting. I'm gonna put that aside and like fixate on training 12 months out of the year. Like we work out like we're all fit guys. We're fit people. You work out way too much to think, 30 or 60 days of mediocre or moderate training at best is really going to kill you. And at the end of the day, like how, are you an Olympian or are we like, do we have race goals and we train hard for them and then we kind of shut it off at certain seasons of life? And I'm the latter.
Okay, well, that's my thought process as well. And it's not like you completely let it go for periods of time. There's people who are all in or all out. And I know for myself, it's still at minimum maintenance, right? I think it's just enough stimulus. Brakken, do you have any thoughts on that?
More and more, the conversation's been coming up with people that like, why do we really do this? And there's not a big pot of gold at the end of the rainbow in our fitness pursuits. That's monetary for most of us. We're not making an Olympic team. We're not making a world team. If you PR, your life doesn't change. We're doing this because it enhances us. And quite often those around us because we're better for it. And so the thing that allows you to do more years of that is the thing that's worth doing.
I agree with that very much so. Kyle's frozen again. I think Kyle's internet sucks.
That's what I think. It's this Texas heat wave. It interferes with the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I just think we want to string together as many things as possible. As the person who spent the last several years unable, for whatever reason, to string together fitness blocks, it has made me hyper aware of how important stringing together weeks and months and years truly is. And if sacrificing 2 months to get 10 gets you a decade plus versus 12 months unbroken gets you 3 or 4 and then you hate it for the rest of your life, like you choose the sustainable option every single time unless there's a world birth on the line.
No, how it goes for me is like I get the summer progresses and I start craving something different, like the 5 a.m. alarms and the discipline, whether I want to do it or not. And then I shift and I put my focus into outdoors with my wife and all of that. And then just like Kyle said, that even sort of runs its course and I'm sick of feeling sloppy and a little bit lazy and the endorphin level hasn't been as high and as frequent. And then I really crave the structure and training and discipline again, heavy. And I come back probably a little more vigored than I would have if I just stayed the course. And there has to be some benefit to that. So it's like I crave the breather from it to do something else. And then I crave returning to it harder than I could have, I think, without. And I don't know if other people, I think it's important to have those things. Really do.
Yeah.
Balance.
Yeah, balance.
Yeah. All right. What else we got? Is that it? Do we need to wrap this thing? You probably need to get to your next big interview, Kyle.
Yeah, right. The paparazzi's at the door.
Sports Illustrated or Flow Track coming at you next? Which one is it?
Oh, I wish. No, I'm gonna go hide in my room and try and get 8 hours of sleep at some point this week. So it's quickly approaching, or the beat story is gonna relapse.
Okay.
Well, congrats on the record. Congrats on the fundraising. Well, congrats on surpassing that awful human being, Eric Burns.
He's not that bad. It just, Burnsy, if you're listening, holler at your boy.
That's right. We like you, Burns.
Yeah.
I love your videos. I love your takes, but
right.
Where do people
Kyle hanging?
Where do people find your stuff, and where can they watch this? Whether it's a buttoned up version or the day to day, where are we finding this stuff?
Yes. So, Kid KIDCOKI. It's Kid Koki on Instagram and YouTube. I refuse to get a TikTok. Never will. But that's where you can find a lot of this stuff. You can always hit me up with a message, or if you want to send me an email, it's just first name, last name, KyleCokinos@gmail.com.
How long is that username applicable? Like, at what point do you have to drop the kid? Like, Lil Bow Wow became Bow Wow.
Yeah. You would think probably like with 3 kids, I should probably get rid of it soon. But like if I get 6 kids, then I'm like, yeah, I have a lot of kids. I gotta keep it.
Yeah.
So
Kid Rock is still Kid Rock. I want to remind everybody of that.
He'll always be Kid Rock.
That's right. And in 30 years, I want people to say the same thing about me. So it's never changing.
All right.
But I also kind of like I kind of like to think of it as like train like a kid, have fun like a kid, and it applies to our whole like turn it on, shut it off kind of thing. Like train hard, have fun. Think about when you just ran through the grass barefoot and like played around. Like the amount of energy you had when you were a kid, getting on bikes, go to a playground, go to your buddy's house, go play a baseball game, go maybe play another baseball game. Like all the activity you did, and then you could like still go to school the next day and be wired and all this stuff coming at you. I like to kind of apply that to training, especially when it gets hard. So I like to kind of train like a kid. I just tell myself a lot. Train like a kid.
Excellent.
Down.
Well, there's no better place to stop than there. Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me. Seriously.
Thanks, brother.